they found out that their escrow guy was stealing from them,
And
and he
that's the
was.
lazy owner. I'm sorry to say this. That's a lazy
No.
owner. And I don't mean that, and we can edit this out. I don't mean this in a bad way, okay? But
Okay.
there are things when you say got it covered, you're being a lazy owner.
If you're a management company owner and you have looked at a service, you've talked with Get Docs Now or one of our competitors, and you've had your people inside say, "Yeah, we don't need that. We've got this covered." You need to seriously take a look at what's going on in that department. So, Joe, topic of the day: embezzlement.
Yep,
What
not
do
a fun thing.
Definitely not. Have you had any experience with any of your companies personally with embezzlement?
No, and I probably because I have an element of trying to cover all my bases, and I'm sure that a lot of management company owners are doing that or think they're doing it as well.
Yeah.
Um, especially when you hire, like you're my friend and I hired you, so you have access to stuff, and there's checks and balances, and you're fine with it, and I'm fine with it, and then I check, and it's
Right.
not a problem, right? But then there's what do you hear when you get people talking about their cousin helping them out and they're
Well,
touching the money?
so the funny thing is for me,
I want to get right to the topic.
no, I got you. So for me, the first actual embezzlement that I was personally involved with, or I was involved with it, but aware of, was a company that I worked for, and the accountant was basically funneling money away, and through all the internal audits, of which of course she was the one doing, everything looked fine. And ultimately the company that I worked for was undergoing an acquisition, or let's say being approached to do an acquisition. And so the company that was doing the acquisition had their own third-party accountants doing an audit, and that's where they discovered the anomaly. And it turned out that the accountant had been stealing like 50,000 a year for 4 or 5 years. And this was a
Accountants and
person,
bookkeepers too. Bookkeepers
yeah,
too.
and this was a person that the company fully trusted. Had no reason to ever question their integrity or anything, and just blown away that that was happening. And
Uh,
so, when I started looking into this topic, this embezzlement topic, man, that's what I found was most of the time, in most cases, the embezzlement that happens, that at least on the research I did, was the smaller, let's say, considered a small business, right? By the U.S.
what
business,
is small business? What
less
is it?
than, let's say, less than
50
50 employees.
employees.
Yeah, 50 employees. So less than 50 employees. And you mentioned that earlier. You hired your friend or your family member, and so you totally trust them, and that trust gets betrayed, unfortunately.
You
And
only
that's
find
what.
out when you want to sell your company. If they're really good at it and they're using that trust to camouflage sucking some money out, and you don't know because you're not dying a death of, oh, I got profit, I'm fine. Oh, I'm doing better than last year, I'm fine. Well, you're really not fine. And you'd rather know than not know, I believe. But there's a lot of people that even if they suspect, they won't even check it out. Hey, you asked me real quick, did I have any experience? And one big one popped in my head. When I was a realtor in Maryland, I don't think I've ever told you this. Um, a title company guy, he just, he can't commingle funds. And he just, at some point, I guess he knew his cash flow for several months. He didn't pay anything off. He didn't pay anybody. So he closed stuff, dude, right? I'm not hearing you, but are you on mute?
There you go.
There you are. Okay. Yeah, I heard a wow. I saw you say
Sorry.
wow, like
Well,
in
yeah,
shock. But
yeah, yeah.
he went for as long as he could, and I think he went to Mexico. And from what I remember, he now this is not what we're talking about, but this is like still within the context when I said what's small business, he was a he was a
Well,
closing attorney office, and he had 5 people working for him. He was a small business, touching all this cash. He left with $10 million. Don't even know he went to Mexico and they were hunting him down. That's all we heard.
well,
That's it.
that is embezzlement still, because was he an
Oh, it
employee or
all
an
is.
owner? Was he an employee or an owner?
He was an attorney
Okay.
and he owned it. It was his,
Okay.
you know.
So yeah. Wow. So that's
He
embezzlement
said,
from the
"I'm
top.
cashing out with my retirement early. I could make 50 million in a career." He was like, maybe he was 35, 40. He could have had
Wow.
another 10, 15, 20 years of getting his retirement down worth, opportunity, just took his money and ran. And that's what they're doing too, right? They're cashing in on a family relationship or a
Yeah.
real trusted, and that, as an owner, you go, yeah, I'm busy. I can't even think about that. I hope they're not doing it. I think they won't. And then
Yeah.
it's like, if you think they are, they are. Even if they
Well,
took a dollar, did it once. Oh, I'll never do it again. I just need this
yeah.
one. And then they never do it again, but they did it. And, you don't know they did it. That's crazy.
So since I've been with GetDocs now since 2011, I have brought this up several times in talking to management companies about the possibility. And the answer always, the response always is, "Oh, that's not going to happen to me. That's not going to happen to me." Um, and then we got our first client as a result, directly as a result of embezzlement. Um, 3 years after I met in fact, you and I both met together with the owner. We met with the owner, we met with the team. They had their guy that was their escrow guy, and met with the team, and the owner said ultimately, hey, we're not going to do business with you guys because our escrow guys got this covered, right? And then 3 years later, they found
Hmm.
out that their escrow guy was stealing from them,
And
and he
that's the
was
lazy owner. I'm sorry to say this. That's a lazy owner. And I don't mean that, and we can edit this out. I don't mean this in a bad way, okay? But
okay.
there are things when you say got it covered, you're being a lazy owner. You're paying too much for the AT&T bill. It's working. It's okay. It's only what I'm only going to say $10. All right. Well, $10 here, $20 here, a process there, someone embezzling here. I mean, at some point, it is a lazy owner, is it not?
It could be that they're lazy. I think a lot of times, I think it could be that they're naive. As you and I talked about before, a lot of people that are starting the management company business were managers who were successful, thought there was a better way to do it, became a management company owner, and by default had employees, had to hire accounting, and maybe they haven't even thought about the possibility that someone's embezzling. So maybe there's a little bit of naivete in there, but once they see this, Joe, after they've heard what we have to say and they still don't look at it, yes, 100% they are lazy because they have to protect their investment.
And
So
how big is this? Could this be a number one income stream? Is it actually a number two? Because you and I talk about it all the time, and I'm not sure it's number two income stream.
I think it's number two revenue, but number one profit. So that
No,
means
does
that,
it push them into profit?
yeah, I think that the thing is with the number one revenue for most management companies is their fees, right? In fact, I was talking with a management company owner a couple weeks ago, and he was telling me that they can't even make money off of fees anymore. Like
No, they just break even.
yeah, they're breaking even, right?
Not even really. They'll take a loss to get the business.
So the fees that they collect, that's kind of breaking even, that's paying the bills, but
Maybe.
there's no real profit in it, okay? But
Right.
then we have clients that we know are generating enough revenue. Let's say we have clients within our company, Joe, that generate enough annual revenue to pay 3 or 4 salaries for one, and they only have one person doing that job, right? So that means that profit margin for the resale documents is huge.
So really, if they lose a little bit off the top, it's not a big deal, right? If
You
they
know what?
lose, if they lose, is there an amount of money that's acceptable? When I was thinking about opening a pizza shop, and
Okay.
you had to budget the five-finger discount.
Yeah.
And I worked at a video. Do we know what videos are anymore? I worked at a video shop way back in the day in college, and it was cash. No one had used their credit cards as much as we do now,
Right.
where that's secure in and of itself. So any cash that came in, I knew people I was trying to get a management position, so I wasn't doing this. But if I saw someone, what a quandary, and most everybody did, I think they were losing 50%. So you have to think in terms of more rampant than not, don't you
Yeah.
think?
Absolutely.
So
Absolutely.
is it
Because it's too
complacency
easy.
if they don't admit it? Kind of not lazy, uh, but uh, but complacent. What is the other word you used?
Uh,
Was it complacent?
Yeah, no,
Naivete,
naive, but
naivete.
complacent. But so here,
Naivete gives you kind of an out too. Naivete gives you like, well, I didn't know can be in there, or I didn't notice. I mean, if there's an excuse in there, but
yeah,
complacent is a choice to, nah, I don't care. I'm making enough money. We've heard that
yeah,
before. I'm making enough money. I'm okay. My bills are paid. But it's the isn't it the principle of the thing? Do you want
yeah.
someone there that's going to take money from you?
Let me ask you this question, Joe. What do you think? Do you consider it like embezzlement if the owner's doing it? Because we have. Yeah, I'm gonna tell you. There's really quick
It's
stories.
an equal opportunity
Yeah,
word.
we had a client. We have a client that didn't do business with us for years because we were talking with them and everything, and they didn't do business. And I asked why, and they said, "Well, we like that kind of that skim." We like
Flexibility.
that cash that comes in, and the owner liked to, we're located in Las Vegas, so he maybe liked to gamble with it or whatever. That was his play money. Um, so
But they're really
so
taken from them. When you think about it, they're taken from themselves. They're
yeah,
really trying to not pay taxes, I think.
exactly, and that's what they think. That's what I was going to say is they think that they're just getting away with not paying taxes,
So
right?
they're embezzling from the government in their mind,
Right. And
but
so,
not really.
and we have another client who I spoke with a few months ago was telling me that the company that she used to work for, she was like right hand to the owner, and she was telling the owner of that company, "Hey, this is dangerous." They were doing their resale documents in house, and she was explaining about the possibility of people stealing from that. And the owner said, "Oh no, it's not happening." Kind of the things we talked about. They just, that person would never steal from me, whatever. So this person, what she did was she actually skimmed like 3 or 4 orders over the course of a month. Now, when you're doing, 50 orders a month and you miss two or three, maybe that's not that much money. The owner doesn't really see it, right? So the owner reconciled the book. Talk about checks and balances, right? The owner reconciled and then said, once it was done, was fine with it. And then this person that worked for the owner said, "Hey, how did that reconcile come out?" "Oh, it was even." And she goes, "Okay," and put like, I don't know, 500-600 bucks on the table. And she goes, "What's that?" She goes, "That's the money that I took last month to show you how easy it is to take it." Well, now I'm going to say, Joe, this is worse than lazy. This is just stupid
Right.
because the owner said, "Yeah, I'm still going to do it myself. I'm still going to keep it in house because they like to have that cash." So,
Well, so do their employees, and you don't have any really. There's no accounting for how much and how much they take it versus to see if they can do it.
right,
So it's very little, undetectable. So you really don't know how long they've been siphoning any amount.
right.
$10? Who cares? Who cares? They're
How much is
taking it.
enough?
No, how much do they need? Well, what do they want to do with it? I want to buy a boat. Well, then I need a lot. So
Yeah,
at some point they make a mistake because whatever the need is, because they got an endless supply of cash, and I got a bill to pay, $300. I'll take 300.
right.
No harm, no foul. They don't need it. They won't miss it. Well, I don't understand the thought process. They don't care, and they're trying to get away with it. It's a perfect storm. And to me, you just put insurance is I know it's going to happen. I'm going to not worry about it. I'm going to live my life.
Yeah,
Get Docs now is like you're going to make the money. You're going to account for all the dollars to the penny. No one can take money from this, not even us.
right.
Isn't that kind of, don't they say a third party? I don't want them
Yeah.
touching my money. I mean, at
Yeah.
some point, that's not the point when you're having embezzlement happen.
When we collect the fees, the document fees, and directly deposit it right into your account, there's no way for any of your employees to take that without you knowing about it.
Unless they have full access to your account. I
Well,
mean, and that's your, once again, is that
even
lazy or complacent?
even still, I mean, when it shows that GetDocs now deposited X number of dollars into your account,
Yeah,
now they're not taking it from the fees; they're just taking it directly from the account, or
right.
whatever. So,
Then that's, more detectable, obviously, I think.
yeah, yeah, yeah. So, I mean, this unfortunately, this is something that happens quite a bit in every industry, and even in our industry.
Can I ask
And
this quick
yeah,
question?
please.
Um, Outside of documents, is there any other way any employee can actually embezzle any other cash flow?
Absolutely.
Like, is
Yeah.
it just an accountant or bookkeeper? Because who else has access to cash flow?
So here's the here. So the most creative, and this was in the article I wrote, the most creative one I've ever heard about was the escrow guy that I was telling you about earlier, but he was doing more than just escrows. He was actually able to take any funds that came in through the front door. So anytime someone came into the office and paid, or if he got a hold of a check, let's say someone had a fine or a fee, he was able to take that. So what this guy did is he actually created a fictitious firm name that was very similar to the management company name.
Oh,
Went down,
heard
what's
that.
that?
I think I heard about this.
Yeah, yeah.
Go ahead,
So
go
he
ahead.
went
Yeah.
and he opened up a bank account as a business bank account. And so what he would do is he would take checks that came in and he would just put them and go deposit them in his account. So and the bank didn't know because it was a very similar name. So it was almost like, oh, they just misspelled it or something like that. And so what that guy ended up doing was over the course of, I believe it was 9 years, he ended up with about $600,000 of money that came into the management company through escrows, through association dues, through fines and fees. That any money that came in through that, if it was a check or cash, he could funnel those away, and he just did a little bit at a time. You know, and if you're a management company owner, I know your percentages, you know what numbers you have to work on, and but if they just do a little bit at a time, they don't even notice it.
And the thing that I don't understand is that attitude. That attitude of I don't care. I don't think they don't care. I think they do care, but they really don't know what to do. If I don't know what to do, I'm going to say, nah, I'm fine. But if there's
Yeah,
a solution, why are you not putting it in place? I mean, we've been
well,
in business for what, 22, 23 years
I
now?
think
I mean, there's a long track record of
yeah,
positive,
I think a
we've
lot of
helped
it comes
companies.
down to trust.
How detailed, that's very true. How detailed are like the process of accounting, like statements, right? And
Yes.
a dump once a month into their account. Now we're off the beaten path of embezzlement, but we're saying, hey, we hook up here and then we dispense here and everything in between is done. And embezzlement, as far as this income stream,
Right.
it gets dumped into your account. And now what you do with it is yours. I mean, that's what it's
Right.
all about anyway.
So that's a good point. So when someone's working with us, what they get from us is they get, like you mentioned, uh, their deposit, and then they get a very detailed statement that goes along with that deposit that shows every order that was placed and completed. And not only that, but we also have spreadsheets so they can manipulate that data in any way they want so they can use it for their own reporting. So if they want to see, on a particular association or anything like that, they can detail that out.
Any way that any employee could go around our system, they could,
No,
couldn't they? They could, couldn't they?
they
If
could.
someone wanted to
So
pay cash,
the
they could just
only
come by and
the
do
only
it,
way
right?
that would happen is if a user, a doc buyer, called a management company, said, I need to get documents, and that management company who uses us decided that, or whoever that answered the phone said, oh, yeah, no problem. Bring me cash and I'll give you the documents.
Way more detectable though, right? That's a lot of steps in front of everybody. I don't know how you make that very. I don't. In my thought of it, I don't know how you do that so under the radar. You're pulling it out of GetDocs now.
Well,
It's now somewhere accounted for.
ironically, Joe, there,
It's a lot of work to cut that order at the pass. Someone calls
there
you, they
is.
call us for customer service. They're usually not even calling them.
Right.
That's just
So
yeah. Well,
we,
it's interesting that you even think there's a way to do it.
yeah, you know what? They would have to really go out of
There's
their way
a
to do it.
right. That's what's
Okay.
very hard,
So
but they could, I guess.
yeah, well, and the other thing is that there are some people, some management companies that for some reason only want to use part of our service. So, like we have a client that was using us only for their escrow demands, but they wanted to keep their resale packages in house, and that lasted for a little while. They've since switched, but that's one of those things where they go, well, we want to get the demand because it goes to the title company, but we think that the real resale package should still be available in house because the real estate agent can come pick it up. It's just easier for them,
That's just
and
exposure to
it's
embezzlement. And
exposure to
whoever's in
investment, right?
control, whatever person is talking to you, the owner, sorry, an owner
Yes.
message, um, You got to look at why did they care so much? I
Absolutely.
mean, you got to look at why are they in your ear saying, no, 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 because that person's going to work. They may not want, oh, it's so easy. Their whole day went to 2 hours a day with Get Docs Now. Okay. What do you do with the other six? Well, I don't want that. Well, I think the other thing is if they're pulling in $1,000 a month or
Sure.
500 a week in cash and they're in control of it and you don't know, why wouldn't they be in your ear to go, you don't need this. I got it covered. I got your back.
Absolutely.
My
Absolutely.
God.
Absolutely. And
That's
that's a
so
good
him.
point. As a business owner, if
And
you
how many people
talk
defer
to
to their people? How many owners go, hey, if my guys
all of
like
them,
it, we'll do it, or my
all of them.
gals?
Yeah,
Yeah,
all of them.
yeah,
So
yeah.
so yeah, if you're a management company owner and you have looked at a service, you've talked with Get Docs Now or one of our competitors, and you've had your people in house inside say, yeah, we don't need that. We've got this covered. You need to seriously take a look at what's going on in that department.